I remember holding hands with the first boy I ever dated. As in, properly dated. We were, 17? Yeah, 17, and it was like I didn't really realise we were on a date. I mean, I knew there was the tension, like the tension going on. Like, we would look at each other for a little bit too long. My chest would kind of collapse in on itself, and I saw him biting his bottom lip, that kind of thing. 17. But we were on this, I don't know, we walked around for a bit. It was more of a walk than a date, like a stroll. And we were sort of messing around. We did this thing where we tried to tackle each other to the ground because I'm stronger than you. No, you're not. Yes, I am. It's convinced me that no one willingly tries to tackle someone unless they're secretly in love with them. Sports was just invented to make it socially acceptable. Anyway, we're tackling each other, and one of us, I think me, goes for a sort of one-arm stomach tackle. Do you see what I mean? It was really impractical. I'm doing the one-arm stomach tackle, and he sort of grabs my arm and tries to push it away, and our hands just sort of slip into each other. We start like in an arm wrestle kind of handhold, and then move into the go-to handhold, fingers locked, and kind of silently just let that sit.
I had a dream once that I was a pilot. It was in a 747. I was alone in the cockpit, and I just knew the plane was full behind me. I could picture the families holding hands, a woman going to see her girlfriend for the first time in months, suits in business class on their way back home. And I was terrified. I had no idea what to do. I took the steering wheel in my hands, felt every hum of the engine rattle through my arms and my chest. I felt that a wrong tremor or even a wrong thought would send me and everyone else crashing down. But I was sat, surrounded by machines and feeling like it was all impossible. When I looked out, I was surrounded by windows reaching from floor to ceiling. We were cutting through the clouds, 35,000 feet. I looked out at a whole kingdom of clouds stretching out forever, saw towers of cumulus cluster and hold their shape for a second before changing again. I looked out and saw the sun was setting, or rising, and it looked like it was flying next to me, flying with me. I looked out and saw it colouring the sky like a little boy with crayons, and I saw the hands of people who built the aircraft, who pieced scraps of metal together and wired machinery and tried and failed and tried again, just so we could have the chance, just to follow that small instinct, that tiny hope that it was possible that we could be in the air, that we could be in the sky, and how after 1,000,000 failures, one day it worked. And I felt the tremors of the plane start to smoothen out. I felt my arms ease up. I felt my hands loosen. And I flew.
When it first started to hit, I mainly remember the bathroom. It was the only room with a lock. Because you can stare yourself down and be left with your own head screaming at you or not saying anything at all, and nothing can get in. And I can feel the life drain out of me, feel the hatred course through my blood, getting stronger with each beat of my heart. And when this happens, and it happens again and again, I wait. I wait for it to pass. I wait to get to the light at the end of the tunnel and for it to blind me. But it keeps going. It keeps going, and it always takes so much longer than I can cope with. So I look down and go back to the same thing. My hands. I've always thought my hands were beautiful. I've hated tiny parts of myself individually, so they've stacked up and completely filled me, but the hatred never managed to reach my hands. They're not smooth, they're not unmarked. If I look closely at them, I can start to see them wrinkle, scab and dry up. My palms feel rougher now than they used to. I should cut my nails. But they're the one area where I always feel I'm more than just the imperfections. Because I remember how calm I feel when I submerge them in sand, or run them through grass, or drag them through water. I remember adding the perfect amount of spice to a meal. I remember each drink of water I poured that made my plants flower. I remember writing a sentence that for a split second feels completely perfect. I remember when friends have cried on my lap and I've just stroked their face, ran my fingers through their hair, gripped their arms just a little bit just to let them know I'm there. And I've seen the relief and the thanks and the warmth flow out of them. And I know I've helped. And when I know I've helped, the hatred starts to move from my wrists to my elbows to my shoulders slowly, day by day. It runs up from my thighs, through my stomach and my chest, and finally starts to be sucked up into my head. I start to breathe in and out slower. I start to shampoo my hair. I start to walk from X, one foot in front of the other, and get to Y. I start to eat and feel a little less sick. I start calling friends. I start humming to myself again. I start conditioning my hair. I start laughing at jokes. I start building myself up, atom by atom, brick by brick, movement by movement, thought by thought, day by day. I remember it doesn't always feel like this. I remember it doesn't always feel like this. I remember it won't always feel like this. There are always tiny lights in the tunnel before the one at the end. And there's always a hand to hold.